I'm 39, successful, and quite well off. My siblings, sadly, are not. My brother, 42, has 3 children. My sister, 35, also has 3, with one on the way. My youngest sister, 28, is married and pregnant, but she had nothing to do with the events of this post. We were all raised to believe that money doesn't matter and that all you need is a happy marriage and lots of kids to live a happy life. Being poor and having lots of kids was somehow glorified. Maybe because that's the way our parents lived and wanted to convince themselves that they didn't screw up. Fortunately for me, I didn't buy into that nonsense. I always knew I never wanted children. I focused on my career and on achieving success. Today I have my own house, wonderful pets, and a loving boyfriend. My family, however, seems to think that there's something wrong with my lifestyle. My parents have often commented that my 5-bedroom house is empty without any kids running around. My siblings often tell me I'm selfish for not having kids and actually enjoying my life. However, their disdain for my selfish lifestyle doesn't stop them from begging for money. My brother and sister have called me and asked me to help pay their bills. Now, if it's something serious like clothes or school supplies for their kids, I'm willing to pitch in. But I always refuse when I'm asked to pay for trips to amusement parks, etc. I also paid for my parents to stay in a high-end assisted living facility. They're my parents, I felt that I owed them this much. I have moved them to a less luxurious facility because of something horrible they did. However, I couldn't help but feel insulted when they sang praises for my siblings for breeding and following in their footsteps, and how my parents wish I had done the same. As if, among all their kids, I'm the biggest disappointment. For this reason, I've distanced myself from them. I only call or visit to check up on them and don't let them be a part of my life. The other day, I got a call from my sister asking if she, her husband, my brother, and his wife could come over. I said okay. They asked me to leave my fortune to their kids in equal portions. And if I did, they would stop asking me for financial help. They said this as if they were doing me a favor. You don't have kids, so who are you gonna leave it to? Asked my brother. I told them I was going to leave my money to charities and that I don't owe them crap. When they went on the "you're selfish" tirade, I told them to get lost. The next morning, I got a call from my dad telling me they were disappointed in me. I simply hung up. The one family member who has stood by me is my youngest sister. She actually has her crap together, and I could not be more proud of her. My own sister just told her kids that when my husband and I die, we are leaving everything to them because we don't have kids. The first thing is she didn't even think about my husband having nieces and a nephew. The second thing is she didn't talk to us about this. No, we are not leaving anything to her kids. The reason we are not leaving my sister's kids anything has nothing to do with what my sister told them about us leaving everything to them. Both of them have addiction problems and have repeatedly refused offers from us and other family members to get them treatment. Sadly, I feel there is a very good chance that my husband and I will outlive both of them. If they should get help and get clean, we would revisit the situation. Make absolutely sure you have a will written ASAP by the best lawyer so they can't contest your will should something happen to you. You have to specifically write out relatives, you know. It also helps to enclose documentation on why, such as a list of the times you've bailed them out, saying that they already spent their share of your money. Instead of giving them money for school supplies, start offering to buy the actual supplies yourself or take the kids shopping for clothes. If you just give them money, they'll use it as they see fit. Edit. Here's what my parents did to deserve the downgrade. After the altercation with my siblings, my parents tried a different strategy. They tried to sweet-talk me, and suddenly their tune had changed from "you're so selfish" to "oh, we didn't mean it. Let's talk." So, after they kept pestering me to have a word with them in person, I invited them over. Now my parents know damn well that chocolate is bad for dogs, but my mom has tried to give them some on many occasions. When I tell her off, she always comes back with "but maybe they like it and I was just being nice." This time when they came over, I left them in the living room and went to the kitchen to get some refreshments. While I was there, one of my dogs came over to greet them. I could see them from the kitchen. My mom petted him for a while, then reached into her purse and pulled out a bar of chocolate. She broke off a piece and was about to give it to him when I stormed over and knocked it out of her hands. My parents looked shocked. I was enraged. Even after being told repeatedly that chocolate is bad for dogs, they just didn't get it. When I asked my mom what the hell she was doing, my dad actually started yelling at me and told me I was being rude. I told them either they were complete idiots or they were intentionally trying to hurt my dog. I told them I was sick of their crap and that they were on very thin ice with me. When they tried to argue back, I grabbed my dad by the arm and walked him out the door. My mom followed. This was less than a month ago, and a few days ago, they were moved to a much less cushy facility. They won't be mistreated, I would never allow that to happen. But all they'll have are nutritious meals, medical care, and television they'll have to share with the others. The nice fully furnished mini apartment they had earlier with all kinds of luxuries will soon be a distant memory. Edit 2. To all those assuming I'm a man, I'm actually a woman. I have an older brother, and we have a great relationship. He's married, but I never felt comfortable around his spouse. But since it's not my business, I never said anything, especially since my brother seemed happy with his choice. 2 weeks ago was my niece's 5th anniversary. They decided to throw a big party, and I was invited. I asked my brother what to bring to his kid, since I'm not good at all these things. But he said that any toy should do. A few days after this conversation, his wife called me and said that her kid needed an iPad and that it would be great if her uncle would bring her one. It amazed me, so I called my brother and asked him again, but he said the same thing. Bring some toy and forget about it. I consulted with my friend who has 2 kids, and she told me that a mud kitchen for kids would be great for this age, arguing that it's an excellent way to teach a kid new skills. So I simply ordered one and wrapped it festively. When opening the gifts, mine was the last. My niece had a tantrum when she saw it was not a tablet. She started screaming at her mom, "You said that uncle would give me a tablet. You promised me." It was an ugly scene, and they barely calmed her down. Everyone stared at me, and I felt very uncomfortable. While my brother was saying goodbye to the guests, his wife approached me and started scolding me for letting them all down and making me look bad. She apparently expected that I'd apologize, and since I didn't, she got outraged. She started yelling that until I won't learn to respect her and won't buy the iPad, I'm not a wanted guest in their house. I simply left. The weirdest thing is that my brother doesn't answer my calls since then. To be honest, I don't know what to think. Is this my fault? This is not your fault. What the hell? Your brother is an idiot as much or more than his wife, since he isn't owning up to the fact his wife is pathetic. If anyone's stupid enough to buy a 5-year-old iPad, it should be the parents. This feels so weirdly like a setup. The wife calls separately and tells OP to bring a very expensive gift. Brother confirms that's not necessary. Sil then tells her daughter she's getting an expensive gift. When it isn't what the kid wants, a scene ensues, and Sil banishes the OP for not providing a pricey gift. Not the idiot. But I am baffled at the odd sense of entitlement from the Sil to demand an iPad and become enraged when it is not provided. Honestly, you're probably going to have to let things cool off. Your brother will probably come around, but the Sil is a write-off unless you're prepared to fund her egotistical requirements for the privilege or her and her daughter's presence in your life. Heard this story yesterday and I'm still angry. For some context, our parents came into some money relatively recently, so have taken the opportunity to explore the world. They have been away 2/3 times already this year, with a couple more booked later in the year. Since my sister, 20F, and I, 23F, don't live at home, me renting with my partner, sister at university, I understand that they are taking the chance to go away and enjoy themselves. The issue comes in the fact that they booked these trips spontaneously and expect me or my sister to drop any plans we have at the last minute to look after their 2-year-old puppy. Issue. My sister has recently finished her 2nd year of university and is working as much as she can to save up for her next term. She lives an hour away by train, and with recent strikes it can be difficult to come home. Last week, she applied for a second job to earn as much money as possible over the summer. Anybody in the UK knows how hard it is at the minute. She told me yesterday that she was successful and is due to start at the end of the month. I was very happy for her and started making plans to go up and see her, gotta abuse those discounts. Our parents weren't as enthusiastic. Instead of congratulating her, the first words out of their mouths were, "Who is going to look after our dog when we go away?" I got so angry. They have become so selfish since they have come into this money. They don't even cover the rail funds for my sister to come home. They think they can exploit her to dog sit for free. Whilst this may not be the most entitled situation compared to what I've seen on this sub, I needed to rant. If they can afford to go on spontaneous holidays away, they can afford a paid dog sitter or a decent place to board the puppy. The sense of entitlement is theirs to bear and not yours to fix if they won't. It certainly isn't your other siblings. Congrats to your sister. Tell her to keep her head down and work and be awesome. I'm sure there is a kennel near where they live. If they can afford a holiday, they can afford a dog sitter. We pay our daughter the equivalent of what we would pay at a kennel to watch our dog in our home when we travel. OP. There is, last time they wanted her to look after him, she asked them to pay her as she would have been working otherwise. They agreed to it until after they got back when they bought her a book instead. Since there's already been the "I will pay but no actual pay" book instead, she should say she can't afford to lose hours at her second job. Period. And if they promise to pay her, she should remind them that's what they said before, but gave her a book instead, so too bad. Can't do it. I wouldn't even say they can afford to pay for a kennel. They'll figure it out.